Since 1996, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, formerly known as Zaire, has experienced great turmoil and violence that still to this day kills 45,000 people a month in Africa. Majority of the violence is being generated from the genocide, seen in the video done by Euronews. People such as Thomas Sabingo Daingo, who was born into the madness in 1960, which in that year the Congo becomes independent with Patrice Lumumba as prime minister and Joseph Kabuzbi as president. Still to this day, people like Daingo being arrested and convicted for war crimes and illegal underage enlisting into the DRC army is still prevalent. According to the ICC, in July 1960, Mavosh Tubunja declares Katanga independent. Belgian troops sent in obstinately to protect Belgian citizens and mining interests. UN Security Council votes to send in troops to help establish order, but the troops are not allowed to intervene in internal affairs. In May 1997, Tutsi and other anti-Mobutu rebels, aided principally by Rwanda, captured the capital, Kinshasa. Zaire is renamed the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Laurent Desire Kabila is installed as president. In August of 1998, rebels backed by Rwanda and Uganda rise up against Kabila and advance on the Kinshasa, Zimbabwe. Namibia sends troops to repel them, and Angolan troops also side with Kabila. The rebels take control of the eastern of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rifts emerged between Congolese liberation movement, known as the MLC, and rebels supported by Uganda and Rally for the Congolese Democracy, known as the RCD, are backed by Rwanda. The genocide were filled with massive execution of terror. Infant and child mortality rates are extremely high as a result of famine and malnutrition. According to the Genocide Watch, an estimated, quote, 3.4 million people, unquote, have been displaced within the DRC, and 2 million people have become refugees in neighboring Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. Rape is being used as a weapon of war, and large-scale plunder and murder are also occurring as part of the efforts to displace people on resource-rich land. The genocide in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is considered a domino effect of the Rwandan genocide. One of the main drivers of conflict in the DRC is its plethora of valuable minerals and resources, including cobalt, copper, diamonds, gold, and stellium and tin, according to the Genocide Watch. Indeed, the Congolese government inability to control the entirety of its territory has allowed rebel and armed forces to exploit these resources and fuel the continuous conflict in the Congo. The DRC has a long history of conflict, but its recent crises can be traced to the aftermath of the 1994 Rwandan genocide. In response to violence carried out by exiled Rwanda Hutu genociders, Rwanda and Ugandan forces invaded the DRC in 1996. In what came to be known as the First Congo War, beginning in 1999, Kabila accused Rwanda of exploiting the DRC's minerals and was aided by Angola, Namibia, and Zimbabwe in a successful effort to push Rwandan and Ugandan forces out of the country. The Lusa ceasefire agreement of July of 1999 attempted to end hostilities between nations and was signed by Angola, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and Uganda, as well as the DRC. The Mai Mai Shika has contributed to the violence in the DRC by attacking not only civilians but also the UN peacekeepers. In 1999, the 6 African countries involved in war signed that ceasefire, and the following month the MLC and RCD rebel groups signed the accord as well. In 2000, UN Security Council authorizes a 5,500-strong UN force to monitor the ceasefire, but fighting continues between rebels and government forces and between Rwanda and Ugandan forces to this day.
Has claimed the lives of an estimated 6 million people. Today, neighboring governments continue plundering by using proxy forces to displace entire communities for access to the land.
Wako nasema ni rako Darfur iko natoka Rwanda, inatokea Rwanda inakuja mpaka huko. Maiko mambo ya kusema rako ndio jamaa iko napigana. Basha shuka mpaka hivi. Kiumba yote donc kiumba iko hapa nayo inatombe. Njoki ona population yote ya kiumba wote wanakimbia.
Scenes like this are often misunderstood as simply the result of an ethnic war, a mistake that only benefits those trying to hide their illegal exploits.
It has nothing to do with ethnicity. They killed Congolese like they were flies. You see how people, you feed a mosquito and just hit? That's exactly how they killed. It did not mean anything to them how they were killing the Congolese, as long as we can just wipe them out.
According to the United States Holocaust Museum, the genocide in the DRC is considered to be a genocide by definition. Quote, incitement means encouraging or persuading another to commit an offense by communication, for example by employing broadcasts, publications, drawings, images, or speeches. It is, quote, public under international law if it is communicated to a number of individuals in public place or members of population at large by such means as the mass media, unquote. This allocates with the DRC genocide in numerous ways. Many of the brutal murders and piles of dead, breathless bodies were broadcasted widely by murder and genocidaries, as seen in the videos and pictures following. Many of the DRC terrorists placed their own photos and own videos of themselves acting in the massacre to broadcast it as a sign of success. According to the Rome Statute of the ICC, quote, genocide is a crime under international law contrary to the spirit and the aims of the United Nations and condemned by the civilized world. It declares that genocide is inflicted great loss of humanity at all periods of time, that the international cooperation is required in order to, quote, liberate mankind from such odious scourge, unquote. According to the Audiovisual Library of International Law, quote, genocide is a crime of intentional destruction of a national, ethnic, racial, and religious group in whole or in part. This aligns accordingly to the genocide in the DRC because of the terrorization of the civilians in the midst of turmoil. Those arriving from Rwandan or Ugandan heritage were automatic targets, in particular because of their involvement with the genocide and their provoking of many internal cultural conflicts. The corruptive DRC forces also continually attack the UN peacekeepers for trying to interfere in most conflicts. The DRC militia also hurts their own people, destroying anyone who gets in the way of the goal. Civilians become outraged by the continuous demolition of their homes and villages and the deaths of their loved ones, thus exemplifying the destruction of ethnic, racial, and whole parts.
As for helping to solve the situation, there are several people involved. The MONUC mission was created by the UN. This mission had been around for 13 years before it ended, making it the longest of the UN's missions to date. The MONUC mission has 18,000 people who work to protect civilians and reconstruct the country. However, the MONUC mission cannot effectively stop some attacks because the group causing the attacks is spread out too widely across the area. The MONUC mission is evident in the eastern part of the Congo, which is the area that receives the most violence. However, the people causing the attacks are spread out across the eastern Congo to Western Europe to North America. One NGO helping with the genocide is the Congolese Initiative for Justice and Peace. This NGO works with other NGOs and some other international groups to encourage peace in the eastern part of the Congo. On the website for relief work, the framework for this organization is, quote, based on two main points: bringing an end to foreign backing of Congolese rebellion movements and fostering the comprehensive reform of state institutions, such as the National Army, police, and sectors, unquote. There are other groups within the state helping to provide relief. One of these includes the South African Development Community. This group took actions to get military officials, assess possible further violent actions, and get people to evaluate the current situation. The U.S. has been very inactive in this situation as they have not helped as they should. The United States has had foreign relations with the DRC since 1960 when they first got their independence. The United States has helped in the past by promoting peace and security in the DRC by encouraging democracy. As stated on the U.S. Department of State website, the U.S. usually helps the DRC with the following: quote, helping civilians, strengthening governance institution and the rule of law, increasing food security, agricultural productivity, and access to credit, health services, and education, etc., unquote. Therefore, the U.S. has played a large role in the DRC, so they should be more involved in the reconstruction. Individuals such as Angelina Jolie have gone to the DRC to help bring awareness to the ongoing genocide.
Foreign Secretary William Hague is in Africa with Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie as part of a campaign to raise awareness of war zone rape. Mr. Hague and Jolie, who is a United Nations Special Envoy, met survivors of rape and sexual violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The pair will also call on all governments to help eradicate sexual violence in conflicts when they meet political leaders.
It's often we speak about the dramas and the pain and the horrors of the Congo, but it's also a wonderful place with extraordinary people. I think the big message is it's not, this initiative started by the Foreign Secretary is an extraordinary thing, but what we're saying and what we're here to do is try to scale it up and make this a worldwide focus.
The state should take action to protect the border and incoming people. The reason for the genocide is the incoming Hutu people attacking the Congolese people. Since there is no border between the DRC, and Rwanda. These Hutu people who are attempting to escape the violence in Rwanda can come to the DRC whenever. Necessary border control would help keep the invaders out. One other possible response could be from other states. These other states could help to spread democracy, which in turn would promote peace. The Congolese government is the one to blame for the genocide happening. The genocide would be prevented if there were a border between the DRC and Rwanda. Although different organizations encourage border control, the government is the only one who can take this into action. The government is also unable to effectively respond to the needs of the citizens. The DRC has abundant resources such as gold, copper, diamond, and coltan. Although these resources can be traded to bring in a lot of income, the country still fails to use this money to support average citizens with education, healthcare, legal disputes, and road systems.